IVM.
Welcome to the 50th episode of Absolutely Right. I'm your host, Aditi Surana. Thank you so much for being part of this fantastic journey so far and actively participating in designing this podcast. Your comments, feedback, questions constantly shape the way I present different topics. Many people have asked me questions around how to deal with this new normal. What can we do to be calm in the times that are so uncertain? I asked myself what could be that one foundational thing that I can share with you that will help you sail through this phase. Start before you're ready. A lesson that I learned very early on in my career. Yes, start before you're ready. I have come across this point repetitively in my research on highly successful people. So today's short episode is very simple. We'll speak about two things. One, why do you have to be fully ready before you begin something? What are you waiting for? And second, 5 reasons why you should start before you're ready. If you're new here, let me fill you in. Absolutely Right Friday episodes are designed to create an actionable change. With every episode, we create a worksheet, or as we call it, Friday Fun Sheet, for you to commit to growth and take actions. This is a PDF document that you can download from my website, aditisurana.com/podcast. In 2006, I was listening to a relationship advice show called Love Guru on the radio. The listeners were asking this person questions and he was giving them some solutions. I thought to myself, what if we start a radio show based on graphology? I was 22, a dyslexic who used to fumble a lot more while speaking. I did not know anyone in the media space, and needless to say, I did not know how to pitch anything, forget about pitching an entire show. However, I genuinely believed in this simple idea of helping people with the help of graphology. And for that, I was willing to do everything it took. Next day, I sat with my college friend and we mind mapped ways in which we can get this show going. We found office addresses of some radio stations and we decided to visit them even though we had not taken any appointment. But when we actually reached the office, I started realizing what I was getting into. I felt like a fish without water. I was nervous, uncomfortable, and slightly anxious. I remember telling myself, what if they reject this idea? What if this whole thing is completely stupid? What if they say no? Then a part of me said, if they say no, you won't have a show, which you don't have anyways right now. What if they say yes? Then you will get to reach out to so many people and they will learn about graphology. I braced myself for a moment. That day we met the new marketing manager, Harsh Narula, who was, I think, the only person available in the moment. He understood our concept. He asked a lot of questions. What I didn't know at that point in time, that Harsh was new to the organization and wanted to figure out his way by having a show under his belt. We became his new idea. Next day I received a call and we were asked to come and meet the production head, the station head, and do some pilot recording. Within 15 days of that first meeting, the show was already on air. It gave graphology a platform to reach out to millions of people. It took my professional work to the next level. It created a credible professional case study for many people to consider graphology as a career in the future. All of this happened because of the simple principle of starting before you're ready. I have a question for you. When are you fully ready? What does that even mean? When you're preparing for an exam or following a specific pre-decided plan of action, you can possibly follow a checklist and be ready. But in the context of our uncertain lives, where every day there is something or other happening to us, showing up which is unplanned, how do you choose to be ready? I meet so many people who keep waiting for the right person, right moment, right reason before they could actually start something that matters to them. Let's think about it. When I talk about this concept, I'm not referring to being irresponsible and showing up without being prepared for things. I'm rather saying that if you're willing to show up and take responsibility for the dream, the idea, the project that you wish to do, then being ready or not cannot be your excuse. Let me give you 5 reasons why you should start before you're ready. Ready? The first one. Have you heard of this self-assessment model called Johari Window? In this model, two researchers divided a personality into 4 parts. One of the parts is called mystery. They believed this mystery area is unknown to anyone throughout your life, but it is also unknown to yourself until you actually chance upon it when you're thrown into a situation. Here you go. How will you be ready for this mystery area that you have no clue about? Point number 2, joy fear. A blogger and writer Leo Babauta coined this term joy fear. It is that uncertain feeling that you feel in your stomach that can be mistaken for an anxiety attack. Have you felt the butterflies in your stomach just before doing a humongous task or addressing a large crowd? That racing heart, a lump in your throat, slightly sweaty palms. We all know what that means. When you're doing something that you're not completely prepared for, but you know you'll do a good job of, you feel joy fear. So next time when you start feeling anxious, take a moment and ask yourself, am I really anxious or I am in this joy fear emotion? Point number 3. The oldest and the most survival-centric part of our brain is called the lizard brain. This primitive part looks at anything unfamiliar as danger and prepares you for either fight or flight option. Initially, when you start before being ready, this part can drive you crazy. It brings in all the doubt, it creates physical reactions. But as you continue to solve problems, this part gets relaxed and prepares you for better risk assessment in the future. Point number 4, momentum. When you actually get started, you turn your emotions into energy, your energy into action, and your action into something meaningful. Momentum steps in and lends a hand. You start seeing that how things start falling in place. People become more receptive. If you are relentless in solving these problems of the puzzle, you start seeing the new pieces, the new clues that were not available for you in the beginning. Point number 5, you got to do it for yourself. People who keep repeating the safe and tried methods soon get bored with their life. They do not know what to look forward to. They lose motivation. When you're challenged slightly to do things that you're uncomfortable with, you literally start building new muscles to deal with the problem. So do not wait for all the ducks to be in a row and all the stars to align. You actually can begin your process right now. On this week's Wednesday episode, I had the honor of interviewing a shark behaviorist, Christina Zanato, who shared her brave story. She said her childhood dream was to become a guardian of the ocean and swim with the sharks. At 23, Christina visited the Bahamas for a 7-day scuba diving holiday. And in her gut, she just knew that she wanted to do this work for life. She decided to move to the island and work on her passion. I'm sure at that point in time, she did not know what it meant to live on an island or to be a cave explorer. She literally jumped in with both feet. When I find myself resisting the idea of starting, I ask myself these questions. If not now, when? If not you, who? Pursuing the ideas and dreams that scare you is not an easy thing, but our willingness to show up shapes us in a different way. Your fear-based voice is trying to protect you. Honor it, but do not give in to it. Tell yourself or that voice that I hear you. Thank you for having my back, but I got to do this anyway. In this new normal, we need to reinvent some or other part of our life. No one knows how to solve this puzzle yet, but we all can start solving it to our best capacity without waiting to be ready. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Absolutely Right. Please share this episode with someone who is really waiting with their dreams and their ideas in their belly and waiting for the right time. Share your experience and send your questions to me on my Instagram handle at Aditi Surana. This 50th episode is a milestone for our team. As promised, episode number 51 will be dedicated to you. Yes, to all our listeners. It is called Ask Me Anything. You can send your handwriting sample and ask your most pressing question on my website, aditisurana.com/podcast. We will select 2-3 such questions and invite you as our guest on the show. If you like this podcast, then don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on our IVM Podcast app or on ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. Let's connect on Wednesday. Till then, happy writing!
I hope you enjoyed that show. So another really fun week on the network. I don't know if you saw this, but Varun Thakur was on Advertising is Dead. That was a really, really fun episode. Besides that, we've had some great guests all over the place. We had Ram Madhvani on Cyrus Says. We had Saurav Mukherjee, a legend in the finance space. He was on Pesa Vesa. He and Anupam have co-written a book, so definitely do check out that episode and go buy their book too. I mean, that would be another great thing to do. Uncle Pleased It had a really, really cool episode with hosts of our other show, Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Anirudh and Janice. They were talking about celebrity culture and how that's progressed over the last few years. And yeah, it's just been a really, really great week. One episode I did want to shout out. A couple of weeks ago, Pulyabazi did an episode which was just amazing. They were talking about the letters between Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore. Do check those out. Those are really good. And with that, hope to see you again next week.
Have you ever wondered how successful people do their thing? How do they navigate the challenges they often face? Are you wondering about the future of restaurants, film, education, technology, and everything else in between? Hi, I'm Gauri Devidayal, best known for being one of the brains behind The Table, an award-winning restaurant in Bombay. One thing my life as a restaurateur has given me is the opportunity to meet with some truly inspiring people, most often just by chatting with strangers at the community table. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about learning the new dimensions of business and understanding how different people swim this sea. It's an opportunity for me to pick their brains and ask them all the questions on my mind, whether it's about learning from their past experiences or talking about future trends. Through their journeys, stories, and insights, I hope you too, like me, will come away inspired and energized. So come, join me every Wednesday with your favorite drink because this round is on me.